Hi, everybody. Welcome back to our part two of three Regent Seven Seas ship tour. Um, Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe and hit the notifications bell so you know when we put out part three of the video. We are going to be covering in this video Singapore, Borobudur, give you a little bit of more of a tour of the ship, more drinks, of course, and introduce some of our favorite ship's personnel. Our part three will include Vietnam, Cambodia, and give an overall impression of the crew, so stay tuned for part three of the video when it comes out. Thank you. So this is the inside of one of our tour buses for our excursions. Get used to these kind of buses, at least on this Southeast Asia tour. You'll spend a lot of time in buses. I'll talk about that more in part three. We did have a police escort on our way to Borobudur. It was 3 hours each way. If we didn't have the police escort, it would probably take us 6 hours. So our bus driver felt like he could drive like he was Ted Kennedy and the liquor store was closing in 5 minutes. For all of my American viewers, you'll appreciate that joke. But yeah, he drove fast. He drove in both lanes. He drove against traffic like a Formula One driver, but in a gigantic bus. But we got there in 3 hours safe and sound. And I asked the tour guide, had you ever had an accident? He said no. So there it is. So finally, after our heart racing, I need a drink, 3 hour bus ride, we reached UNESCO World Heritage Site Borobudur Temple. Everybody gets issued a pair of sandals because they don't want your regular street shoes on there. And they stagger the tour groups in 1 hour increments to keep the population down on the temple. Borobudur is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's largely regarded as one of the oldest Buddhist temples in the world. It was originally built in around 800 AD, and then around 1500 AD it disappeared, swallowed up by the jungle with the onset of the increase in Muslim population that came to Indonesia. It wasn't rediscovered again until the early 2000s. A local had reported it to one of Sir Thomas Raffles' lieutenants, and Raffles commissioned an expedition to go find the temple. They found it, and then they uncovered it and started restoring it because it had obviously started to decay quite a bit, being in the jungle for, over 1,000 years, not being discovered, or 500, 600 years. It is divided into 9 floors. It's 273 meters per side. Each floor represents ascension into a different level of spiritual nirvana or Buddhism. On the top, there's a dome in the middle. It's the only one where you cannot go inside. That's the 10th level. But it's felt that if you reach that level, your soul will go into it, even though it doesn't have any entrance. There are over 2,600 relief prints inside there and over 504 Buddha statues. The dome in the middle on the 9th floor is surrounded by 72 Buddha statues, which is each enshrined inside a perforated stupa, which is like a cage, except for one, which has been uncovered so you can see the Buddha statue inside. It's said that if you can reach your arm through the opening in it and touch the Buddha, you can actually get good luck for the year or something like that. Beautiful, beautiful sight. It was a great excursion, probably the highlight of the entire cruise. They had a fantastic lunch with Indonesian traditional dancers set up for us.
It is representations of humanity journey to reach nirvana, reach liberation, reach freedom. But according to the Buddhist belief that 10 terraces, it is symbol of human being in the world. And it divided in 3 spiritual of life. This is the first part. This is the second part. Then the third part is symbolized with bell-shaped structure. The lowest part, it is called Kama Dhatu level. It is the symbol of human being. They're still controlled by world desires. And according to the Buddhist belief, all world desires will cause it reborn, reincarnation. The second part is Rupa Dhatu, wall of control. Someone start controlling their life from all worldly attachment. Then the third part, it is like a Buddha inside of stupa. Someone already totally controlled from all worldly attachment. Then the top is the liberation, the freedom. And decorated with 504 Buddha statues, but more than 200 are headless. So actually, this temple, after it was built, only around 100 years. became a Buddhist center at that time. But then, natural.
Okay, so we are leaving Java and we have an at-sea day while we cruise up to Singapore for our next port. We're going to take you into the Compass Rose restaurant, which was probably our favorite dining venue on board, which is on deck 4. They used beautiful Versace plates. This is a sample of the menu. This one is a breakfast menu. Feel free to pause when I show these menus at any time. Take a look and see. This is just typical. They do change a little bit each day, although breakfast tended to stay the same. So I'll just let you enjoy the food for a few minutes. Now we're into the first 2 days of our Singapore visit. Start off with a hearty breakfast, bacon, our sausage links, eggs, corned beef hash, and French toast with maple syrup. It was so good. Then up to the observation lounge, where we watch a ship pull in on the 11th deck. You can see it's a great view. You can see all the shipping out there, very typical for Singapore. This is the Constellation Lounge on deck 4. This is where you met for all your excursions. They had a table set up with some girls that would give you out. You had tickets that you got in an envelope in your room. Then you'd go up and present them to the girl, and that she'd give you a bus number, and then they would call the buses to keep everything orderly when you're going out. For the most part, the system worked really good. The Singapore cruise terminal is fantastic. It was the only handicap compliant Liberty port I think we pulled into. The off ramp of the ship was like a straight shot off the ship, and then you went through this breezeway that was air conditioned, and then it dropped you into a mall where you can catch Grab or the train to get into Singapore proper. Overall, just a really, really great port for pulling into. I was really, really happy about it. So now we're in the marina. The famous 3-tower Marina Bay Sands with the infinity pool on the top floor was in the distance. And we're here to see the Merlion, which is Singapore's famous landmark. And here is a shot of the Merlion. Everybody comes here to get pictures. Some people try to do funny pictures where it looks like the water spraying out of their mouth. There's a place on the bridge where you can stand and get that done. They had these very America's Cup looking yachts sailing around inside the bay, so it was very picturesque. After we went and saw the bay, they took us to Chinatown, to this market, let us roam around for about 45 minutes. It was interesting. Actually, the part I found the most interesting is that there's a Smith Street here in Chinatown, which is my last name, so I thought that was cool. I took a few pictures. But you can see, you can get the normal souvenirs, trinkets, you know, baseball caps that say "I love Singapore," that kind of stuff here. And here's one of the shops on Smith Street. So I thought that was kind of cool. Working my way through the specialty drinks. This is the Splendor. There I am enjoying it. And then I liked it so much I went to the next one, which was the Explorer. And as proof, here I am enjoying that one too. So Singapore was a 2-day port. So we stayed there in Singapore. We didn't do any of the planned excursions. Wanted to show you guys deck 12, which is a sports deck. It's the deck that you can walk all the way around. There's also a bunch of activities set up that I'll show you in a few minutes, but really nice to be up in the morning. You could find people up here walking from first light. People that obviously didn't stay out that late the night before. So as you can see, the jogging track, 7 laps equals a mile, 4.3 laps equals a kilometer. They had tennis courts, mini golf, they had a putting green, they had pickleball, a bunch of activities. And for the maturity of the crowd on board, we actually saw quite a few people up here partaking in using this stuff. They also had, you know, the traditional shuffleboard and things like that. There's the shuffleboard court. Yeah, nice facilities overall. So one of the absolute coolest things they had was they had this Singapore Sky Tram, and it literally passed right over the ship. You could walk to the terminal from the cruise ship pier station, shopping mall. It's about a 5-minute walk. It's not cheap. It's $25 for a round trip, and it takes about an hour and 20 minutes to do if you do the whole route. But the views are pretty spectacular. They do have a new type of tram that has a clear floor, but it only goes for one segment, and it's like $15 additional if you want that weird one. I'll point one out on the video. But as you can see, it is going right over the top of the ship. If you don't have a drone with you and you want to get some footage of the cruise ship, this is a great way to do it without having to launch a drone and deal with local regulations and laws regarding flying a drone. But yeah, great views of the ship overall. When we got to the first point, we're at this Imbaya Trail where you got off and there was a bunch of restaurants. We're on Sentosa Island, which is the island just offshore from Singapore. They had a whole Adventureland theme park, which was pretty cool. I mean, in resorts there, I could see going there for 3 or 4 days for a little quick holiday to stay. This gives you an example of the amount of shipping that's in Singapore Strait. This is either Singapore Strait or Strait of Malacca. I'm not sure which, but huge amount of shipping traffic there. I remember it from my time in the Navy. It was always like that. There's a view of the ship. That huge white tower that you see in the distance right there, that's actually a bungee jumping tower. And it looks tall. Like, I wouldn't do it. But I didn't see anybody else do it. I was dying to see somebody else jump off that thing because it looked scary just looking at it. So now we're on the way back. You got off like after the bungee jump into a little station, and then you basically crossed over. Great ride. So then my wife and I went to Fort Canning Park. We really wanted to see this thing called the Battle Box, which is actually an enactment of the tunnels that were underneath Singapore that the British held out in for 4 days when the Japanese invaded, before they surrendered Singapore to the Japanese. The the rooms that they were in. This is all footage of the actual rooms. They've all been restored faithfully. The rooms were damaged somewhat after the war because the Japanese, when they invaded, they occupied it and they kind of trashed the place. But this was absolutely a fascinating tour. I highly recommend it. I don't think it was that expensive. I think it might have been 12 or 15 US dollars for the tour. They gave you a headset and an MP3 player, and they told you where to start it, and then it just kind of plays through, and you walk through the rooms, and it told you what was going on during that 4 days. It was a pretty horrific experience. You know, I can't say I blame the British for surrendering. Their situation was kind of, well, they felt it was hopeless. It turns out that they outnumbered the Japanese by like 3-1, and the Japanese had literally no resupply. So if the British had fought back, they actually probably could have taken the Japanese. But the British didn't have any way of knowing that. They just thought this was an invasion. The Japanese commander of the invasion treated it like a blitzkrieg. He tried to go through as fast as he can and mop up as many people as he could as quickly as possible. This is after the Japanese occupied. You can see they wrote kanji and pencil on the wall. So they put up translations and glass over to protect where they wrote. But the figures that they had in here in the authentic uniforms were so realistic. They were kind of creepy, but it was really interesting. Also, when you're walking through the park to get to this area, it is very hot and hilly, and you get in here and it's like blissfully cool and air conditioned inside. So it's actually a nice reprieve from being outside in the hot Singapore sun. But great tour. My wife absolutely loved it. After that, we went to Clark Key and got a little lunch. Clark Key is interesting. Our friend who lived in Singapore for 3 years told us it had been running down a little bit when I was in the Navy, and I'd been here like 10, 15 years ago. Clark Key was the place to come. We thought it looked pretty good. On to my next signature drink, the Mariner. And there's proof that I'm enjoying the Mariner. Sea Day heading for Vietnam. I'm filming you.
Hello, good evening.
We did the, what's it called? The battle
Battle box,
box.
where the Brits surrendered Singapore during World War II. So it's good.
That was a great day.
I had the chance to go last night.
Oh, you did? Where'd you go?
With some friends. This here, the Maryland.
Nice.
And also this what you call it, garden by the bay.
Yeah.
Garden by
Oh,
the
see the light show?
I didn't see the light show. Only one light, no light show.
So
It was
what's
a light show.
what's this? What happened to the leather menus?
Oh yeah, this is the fancy menu now. One use throw.
That is fancy.
Yeah.
Very fancy tonight. One use with throw. So may I offer you the usual, freshly squeezed water.
Did Vin?
Say where you're from.
Good evening. My name is Albert. I'm from the Philippines.
Yeah. How long have you been on the ship?
More than 20 years.
And
More than 20 years.
have you always worked for Regent?
Yeah, my first contract I was in Seaboard.
Okay.
Seaboard. And then
and I know you have to say that this is your favorite, right?
yes, because you were here. This is my favorite because you were here.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we're ready to order.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
My love.
I think I will go with the. Do you recommend the wonton soup or the chicken consomme?
Both.
Both. Okay. And then
Albert's buying tonight, so
Oh, that's
I'm
right.
paying the dinner.
The cavatelli,
Cavatelli, yes.
the cod fillet.
And the fresh cod. I caught
I
it
forgot
for
about
you
the
today.
commentary.
Okay. Perfect. What else am I supposed to
Yeah.
pick? That's it, right?
Yeah, double portion, right?
The what?
Double portion.
Oh my gosh.
Double portion. Is this me? So,
Okay, I'm gonna go with the Iberico ham,
Iberico ham, yes.
the classic Caesar salad.
Classic Caesar salad with everything in it, right?
Yep. The cavatelli,
Cavatelli.
and I'm going to take your recommendation for the Madras lamb curry,
Lamb curry, Madras.
and I hope you're spot on with it. Otherwise, I'm going to tell your wife through this video.
Can I have a teeny of Caesar salad?
Caesar salad,
Very
certainly.
small.
Only teeny. Okay.
Thanks, Albert.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So that's it for this episode. Please join us for part 3 where we cover Vietnam, Cambodia, and disembarkation. Also, I'll give you my overall thoughts on the cruise overall as a whole. We'll see you in that. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe and hit the notification so you know when I post the next video. Thank you.